Hey everyone. So, how is your self image affected when you can't help someone in need? This has been our theme this week, right? So, in this video, I will guide you along the journaling process to check in with yourself to increase your self awareness, assess your energy, and align with the source of unconditional love. So, if you're new to me, my name is Robin Knott, and I'm your host of Energy Healing TV and podcast on YouTube, Rumble, and Spotify, and the founder of theenergyhealingschool.com. I'd like to welcome you to the self-love movement. It is my deepest belief if we all loved ourselves enough, suicide wouldn't be a thing. So that my movement, self-love movement, is to help squash suicide, basically. So are you ready to dig deeper? So why we're doing this self-care challenge, journaling every single day, checking in with ourselves. I got my journal, grab yours, come journal with me. Today we're talking about love, self-image, and the solar plexus chakra energy because the solar plexus chakra governs our self-image, governs our ego, our personal power, whether that means we're stuck in humanness and that's where our power stands, or our highest self, right? So which energy are we pulling in for our quote unquote personal power and love to meet ourselves regardless, to meet ourselves with love and compassion. What do they say? You can't fight fire with fire, right? It only creates more of it. So we don't beat ourselves up with the blame, shame, and guilt. We're meeting self with love and compassion. So with the journaling, as you know, but if you're new to me, let me explain what I like to do to set the tone when I journal. Like I have it all set up here for myself, right? I literally write out energy healing lifestyle journal. That's what I call it because it is a lifestyle. All of the things we talk about, is energy because everything is energy. So help putting it into that perspective has helped me shift away from the human ego-ness so that I can observe it more, seeing it as energy instead of being just sucked into the emotions and the thoughts and the hamster wheels of those old patterns of thought. I write out self-care challenge, and today's letter is L for love, because again, self-care has become an acronym, right? So meeting self-love and compassion again, kind of looking at our self-image so we can assess that energy in our solar plexus chakra. Then the journal prompt for today, I write that journal prompt out. How is your self-image affected when you can't help someone in need? So again, we've been talking about that this week, right? Trying to help, wanting to help other people. What are our beliefs about helping people in need? What's it like? What do we feel? What are those emotions, the sacral chakra, when we can't help someone in need? And now how that affects our self-image. We have these deep-rooted beliefs in the root chakra, right? We have these programs based on our expectations, our life experiences. So even if you were to Google, I like to pull Google in here every now and again, and how our self-image affects us. And it depends, right? Is it quote unquote positive or negative self-image? What is our focus, our mindset, our pattern of thought, how we see ourselves? Because that's what self-image is, right? It's our viewpoint of ourselves. But how we created that viewpoint comes from many different aspects and experiences. So a positive self-image can boost our physical, mental, social, emotional, and spiritual well-being. So all the way around. On the other hand, a negative self-image can decrease our satisfaction and ability to function in each of those areas. So all the roles that I look at, that I try to show up in, it can affect how I stand in those. Physically, if I'm just feeling unmotivated because I'm beating myself up, then I may not take care of my physical health, right? My mental health with all that negative thought patterns chattering away in my mind. Socially, it's how we then project that out is going to affect our social health, our social well-being, how we interact with other people, right? Or what are we spewing out and then receiving back in? Then, of course, our emotions and spiritual well-being. Another point I wanted to read off of Google, so that one was actually from clevelandclinic.org. this next one is berkeleywellbeing.com. What is our self-image affected by? Self-image is an individual's perception of themselves. So the positive thing is if you have a negative self-image, we can change that, right? We don't have to stay stuck with it. We don't have to keep it forever just because we might notice it like, wow, I really see myself as this and I don't like that. That's where self-awareness is amazing because now I can make a choice to do something differently. But backtrack, let me get back on that. Self-image is an individual's perception of themselves, including their physical appearance, personality, and characteristics. It is influenced by various factors such as culture, family, friends, and personal experiences. So when we talk about those old programs and conditions, those programs and conditions come from culture, family, friends, and personal experiences, right? And it can have a significant impact on an individual's self-esteem and self-worth, like obviously in a sense, right? I think those are the only two I was just going to use to pull in for the conversation. You can always deep dive, go bigger. You can dive as deeply as you want to in your journals, of course. So even just reflecting on what we talked about already this week when it comes to those beliefs about helping others in need, feeling that like I have to, like you have to help people who are in need, like everyone. And we talked about, are there limits to that? And then where does that expectation come from? Culture, family, friends, personal experiences, right? But it's not just an experience. It's like a continuation of experiences or an experience that is so impactful that it's rooted itself in our beliefs, in our roots chakra. We internalize it. The emotions are so intense or so repetitive that we internalize it and it becomes who we think we are. So if we're not able, in those moments when we're not able to help, then we can internalize that feeling. And when we say, I am, that mind chatter can start with the negatives, right? I'm a failure because I couldn't help someone in need. I'm worthless because I couldn't help someone in need. I'm helpless because I couldn't help someone in need. When it's your kiddo, right? We talked yesterday about how intense those feelings can be when it's your child, whether they're grown or adult. How you feel when you're not able to help them when they're in need. So then you might internalize that and start thinking that you're not a good parent, right? So whatever those expectations of ourselves, they jump in, whatever tells us we have to jump in to take over, whatever makes us feel responsible, and then taking the consequence, if you will, for not being able to, quote unquote, fix a situation. But we don't just think it and feel it. We're believing and assuming that it's who we are. That's a deep thing, right? So that's powerful in itself. It can be very powerful in any negative situation when we're stuck in those negative thought patterns, and then we beat ourselves up with the blame, shame, and guilt to go on top of it, and then start to assume and accept that we're unworthy when that's not even the case. All those patterns we can break, right? So what comes up for you as you're doing these journaling processes? What comes up for you when you think of who you are? So you write out those I ams, and sometimes when we're in a really good space, we have great feedback or great responses for I am, right? I am. However, in those situations, if you find yourself in a situation where someone is in need and you're unable to help in that point in time, what does your I am statements look like? Allow yourself to explore, right? Because it's just awareness. We want to be aware, assess our energy, and align with the source of unconditional love. And again, today being that love for self, regardless if we see ourselves as worthy or unworthy, being amazing or not amazing, whatever word you want to use. But I hope you hear what I'm saying as far as meeting yourself with that love and compassion, because we're observing for the knowledge, for the awareness. Because if we're not already in alignment with the source of unconditional love, excuse me, what is something we can do to help us get into alignment with the source of unconditional love. Because again, those unrealistic expectations of yourself, beating yourself up with blame, shame, and guilt, trying to take on the world for yourself, expecting yourself to be able to help everyone in need all the time is unrealistic. And it's not in alignment with the source of unconditional love, right? I think we'll leave it at that. So I hope you are having a wonderful day, evening, whatever time in the world it is for you. Continue to, the homework, right? Continue to check in with yourself, journal on your own self-awareness, whether you use the journal prompt I provided or if you just want to check in with you and say, how are you today? Or what do I need today? And listen and see what comes up. If whatever shows up is not in alignment with the source of unconditional love, so unconditional means you and me and everyone. It doesn't mean the focus is only everybody else and you leave yourself out in the cold. Hold that space for yourself. Allow yourself to feel, right? We feel it to heal it. If you haven't already signed up for the Empathic Healers Masterclass, a step-by-step guide to set boundaries and protect your energy, right? Setting boundaries. It's not up to us to rescue the whole entire world or to help everyone in need. It would be great if we could, but if we're not able to, that's okay too. If you want the link for that masterclass, let me know, and I will put that in the comments for you. And meet me back here. Tomorrow is a holiday. However, either earlier or later, I will come on still for our journaling. And so I will see you tomorrow so we could talk about forgiveness and transformation and heart chakra energy. Take good care of you. So much love. Bye, guys.